freaking cool, dude. That is a freaky trinket. That is a freaky Twisted. Imagine getting chased by that thing. Wowzers. All it takes is a drop of impurity to pollute clear water. We're getting deep. Iker has infected this Twisted, growing a maw with teeth out of its face. Whoa. We're using words like maw. When in chase, it will summon an Iker field, boosting the speed of all Twisteds around it. Even when infected, he'll make an effort to help his team. Whoa. And his trinket is Star Sticker Trinket. Increase movement speed and run speed by 3% for every Twisted chasing it. Ooh, wow. Very quirky. So kept at 30%, so 10 Twisteds. So let's think. So how many Twisteds would you need following you to make it like better than other trinkets? I guess 5. So anything more than like if you have 6 Twisteds following you, then this would be better than most other trinkets. Stellar is great. Yeah, Stellar is awesome. I'm gonna give Stellar an S. This is an S. I've only seen good ones. Okay, what is this? This is absurd. I do believe that we have seen Heatstro before, but I don't know if we've seen the Twisted version. So this is just the Twisted version of Heatstro with his tune right here with stats, as you can see. Let me move my fat head to the other side of the screen. So here is Heatstro. Helps with attention span. What, a third eye? But let's check this out. So he's a main tune, Cell Check a 2. Very, very good extractor, but his skill check sucks, which I'm not a fan of. But you know what? That's fine. I guess he has his downside. Does his ability make up for it, though? Ability 1, Solar Flare, passive. Let's just see what other people are plus machines. Fair enough. So like V, but also people. Ability 2, called Heat Wave. This ability just lets him slow for about 5 seconds. So I'm assuming he like sends out a certain meter blast, and he slows down everything around him. Super cool. I'd say he's a little bit weak, just a little bit weak for a main tune, and we don't have a ton of information on his Twisted, and we don't have a trinket either. So because of that, it's a B+. It's very solid though. It's just lacking information is all. So here is going to be our next tune. This is a main tune, has 2 health, skill check of 4, movement speed of 5, stamina 1, stealth 3, extraction speed of 4. It's ability 1. Sticky Surprise. Makes sense. He has some pancakes here. Sticky Surprise. All of Twisted on the floor will become 50% Whoa. I need more information though. They become 50% slower. How often can you use this? Is that one time per floor? That just seems way too broken. That needs some more clarification. Like, is it for a certain amount of time? Like, there's no cooldown either. Okay. Sugar Rush description. This tune will get a 50% speed boost for the entire time they are on the floor. Okay. Also extremely broken. Twisted. Here's the Twisted. The Twisted will hang from the ceiling and only stay in one spot. You know she's there if there is maple syrup on the ground where she's hanging from. You run under her, she'll grab you and take 1 heart from you. It will give you the slow effect 3. Interesting. So this is just broken, or it just doesn't have enough description to explain how it actually works. So I'm gonna have to give it just like a B-, because it's broken. So I guess it has to be a C. It's not because it's bad. Dude, all Twisted on the floor for 50% slower, and it doesn't have a cooldown, so you can just use it every floor, and you get a 50% speed boost per floor. That is just broken. That is just broken. And we're just gonna go ahead and end with this. This is just stats and a cool looking tune called Clock It. Clock It's held this 2. He's a main tune. He has a skill check of 2, movement speed of 3, stealth of 3, extraction speed of 4. Excuse me, we're missing stamina. But here's his Twisted version as well. He looks very cool. He kind of looks a little bit like Glisten, but I do like it. With that being said, looks cool. He is missing a stat though, but I'll go ahead and give this a nice solid B. Without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. I love that you guys like watching me do this, still to this day. One of my moderators just told me, dude, you're milking the reactions. It's because it's what you guys want to see. If it's what you see, it's what I'm going to make. I look at the video ideas every single day. Without further ado, I love you, platonically. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 50K by the end of the year. I'll see you guys all again tomorrow. Send me your OCs. Join the Discord. Bye.
All right, guys, it's time to reveal the theory of the day. Are you ready? Okay, here I go. The theory of the day is...
Sesame Street! My friend Toothpicky here. Say hi, Toothpicky. Toothpicky says that the theory of the day is that Sesame Street has a dark secret, and that it all begins with Elmo wanting to bump off his friend's pet rock.
But I wanted to...
But that really? The root of the problem is more systematic. Toothpicky says that in the end, what Rocco represents is older generation failing to establish proper social norms and a troubling tendency of defaulting to victim blaming.
Wow, that was very insightful. He said all that?
Yup.
Now I'm curious, what else does Toothpicky have to say?
That I deserve a raise.
Your toothpick friend is stupid, Dan. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that'll always let you have the last oatmeal raisin cookie. You know what's wild? My parents grew up with Sesame Street, and then I grew up with
Rock. Go on, say hello, Rocco. Yeah, Rocco says hello. Elmo didn't hear anything.
It would seem like everyone's favorite little red monster actually has himself a short fuse when it comes to this particular rock. And this caught my attention because, well, first off, it's just funny, but also because it seems so out of character for both the show and Elmo. Elmo is always portrayed as this incredibly kind character, and yet for some reason he has one trigger and it's Rocco. He goes completely mask off and devolves into a fiery red ball of rage, but why? What is actually going on here? What's the backstory? Is there a backstory? Why is Elmo suddenly transforming from a cute, cuddly, metaphorical monster into a literal one? Are the memes finally coming true? Has Elmo finally had enough and is ready to watch it all burn? Well, I loyal theorists, and the truth is actually much sadder than all of that. Elmo is far from the monster in these situations. Dark past hidden inside the history of Sesame Street's imaginary friends, and Elmo is the helpless victim that's currently getting steamrolled in the process. Let's start off with a bit of backstory here. Elmo's beef with Rocco actually goes back much further than you might initially expect. The earliest clip that surfaced after the initial viral tweet came all the way from 1999, when Zoe interrupts Elmo so that Rocco can be the one to say the number of the day.
Today's number is 12. Rocco says the number is 12. Elmo is supposed to say the number of the day, not Rocco.
Now, 3-year-old Zoe having an imaginary pet rock isn't in and of itself strange. These characters are children, after all. It's all typical behavior from a child with a growing imagination. And it's not like Elmo doesn't understand imaginary friends or pretend play either. In another episode with Rocco, Elmo has a stuffed toy that he's named Baby David. The two of them pretend to be astronauts.
Elmo's playing astronaut with Baby David. Hi, Baby David. I'm playing with Rocco. Hello, Rocco. Hey, Elmo, could you please watch Rocco for a minute? Rocco doesn't need Elmo to watch him. Rocco's just a rock. Well, rocks need watching too, Elmo. But Zoe...
Elmo obviously doesn't think that they're literally floating around in space. They're just playing astronaut. So clearly he can separate fantasy from reality. So then why does he have all this animosity towards a rock imaginary friend? Because here's the thing, after digging into the relationship between these two, this rivalry happens a lot. In episode 4064, Elmo's elephant are tasked with doing the Rocco dance.
That's Mr. Rocco.
And Elmo doesn't understand why other characters insist that Rocco is such a good dancer.
I've always wanted to dance like Rocco.
But he's a rock.
Oh, but what a dancer! Such grace!
In episode 4424, Zoe insists that Rocco is getting married, and she throws a huge event complete with guests and a cake, much to the confusion and frustration of Elmo.
Rocco has to choose a best man, see? Best man for a rock? This is the silliest thing Elmo's ever heard!
This pattern holds even going as far back as Rocco's first appearance in episode 3809, where Elmo straight up laughs in Zoe's face when she tries to introduce him.
Elmo, he's right here. See? He's my new best friend, Rocco. But Zoe, it's a rock.
Laughing in your friend's face when she introduces you to her new friend, imaginary or otherwise. Not exactly a very kind thing to do there, Elmo. Seems remarkably out of character for this gentle and sweet monster. But why? What is the actual backstory here? Well, from the creator's standpoint, this was always what they intended. Reading interviews with the writers that came out after the viral video, they intended for Elmo to always get frustrated by the whole Rocco situation. See, while the clips of Elmo getting frustrated are hilarious and show him being an absolute savage to this rock, the full episodes actually paint a much different picture. Yeah, in the episodes, Elmo always starts stubborn and insists that Rocco is just rock. But in basically every single situation, he either exhibits an enormous amount of patience or goes out of his way to befriend Rocco for Zoe's sake. For instance, that episode where Rocco is getting married, Elmo is honored when Rocco actually wants him to become the best man. In another episode, number 4077, while the group is having fun on a play date and they're swinging on, Zoe insists that Rocco get a turn before Elmo, despite him not wanting Rocco to because, you know, it's a rock. Elmo eventually relents and patiently waits his turn while Rocco goes first. Elephant dance session that I mentioned earlier, Elmo keeps dancing for Rocco despite being knocked around by the giant elephant and Rocco's constant criticism of Elmo's moves.
What's that, Rocco? The elephant was great, but Elmo's shooby-dooby-doos need work?
So, while Elmo does tend to lose his cool whenever Rocco gets brought into the picture, by the end of the episode, he generally learns and grows from the experience. But hold on, go back to that last example. Elmo is being physically and psychologically attacked here. He's being knocked around by an elephant and made fun of for his dance moves, all of it for the benefit of Rocco. In the cookie clip, Elmo's favorite cookie is being given away to an inanimate object, and on the tire swing, Elmo winds up having to share his turn because Rocco has gone before him, and suddenly the adult Gabby has run out of time.
Who's next?
Elmo is. Rocco's in line ahead of you. It's his turn. But Rocco is a rock.
You know, Elmo, Rocco is next in line.
Oh, okay, fine.
In each of these situations, and others that I'm not talking about, Zoe is always the one pulling some kind of cruel stunt on Elmo. Enough so that I have to ask, is she the true monster here? It'd be one thing if Zoe actually thought that Rocco was alive, but she doesn't. She understands what he is. In that infamous cookie clip, Zoe admits that Rocco isn't actually alive. He doesn't eat or breathe or grow.
It's true that Rocco really isn't alive like you and I are. He doesn't eat or breathe or grow, right?
Well, yeah.
In fact, the episode that introduces Rocco also features a song that specifically says that rocks aren't alive and cannot eat.
Is a rock alive? No, it can't grow like your brother. Is a rock alive? No, it can't eat like your mother.
Seems like a very clear message from the creators of the show. So Zoe understands that Rocco isn't alive. He isn't really saying all of these things to Elmo or wanting to eat his favorite type of cookie. So that would imply then that Zoe has to be the one being the real jerk here, right? I mean, if you go back and watch these interactions with that fact in mind, the tone drastically shifts. All of a sudden, this isn't a case of a girl wanting her imaginary friend to have the oatmeal raisin cookie that he prefers. It's depriving Elmo of the cookie that he wants. That sequence with the dancing elephant, it's not a girl passing along constructive criticism from her imaginary friend, it's just her having an excuse to say mean things to Elmo. The incident with the swing that we mentioned earlier, it's not a girl wanting to make sure that her imaginary friend gets his turn of the fun, it's about making Elmo wait before he can have fun. It's about control. Zoe uses Rocco as a means of controlling all of those around her. In fact, after Rocco gets to swing, Zoe then insists that Rocco keep swinging, further delaying Elmo's turn.
Okay, now it's Elmo's turn. Oh, what's that? Rocco says he's having such a good time. He wants to keep on swinging.
Not to mention that this entire situation starts because Zoe interrupts Elmo's playdate with Gabby and forces Rocco into it.
There's somebody else who wants to play too. Someone else? Yeah, Rocco! Zoe, rocks can't play.
And once he's in, Rocco once again steamrolls Elmo's plans.
So, what are we gonna do?
Let's say the alphabet. Wait a minute. What's that, Rocco? He says he'd rather jump. But Rocco's a rock. Rock can't jump. Elmo wants to say the alphabet. But that wouldn't be fair to Rocco.
Zoe was the one who wanted to jump here. Rocco was just the excuse. At another point in episode 4258, despite his protests, she asks Elmo to hold Rocco's hand, only to come back and claim that he's holding something else.
That's not Rocco's hand. That's his butt.
Oh, watch it there, Zoe. That is a serious accusation you're making. You're fixing to get Elmo canceled. But in all seriousness, this is yet another example of her using Rocco to humiliate Elmo despite him ultimately doing what she wants. I could go on and on here listing more and more examples, but the long and short of it is that Zoe's actions are just cruel. She's using Rocco as an excuse not just to get what she wants, but then to terrorize Elmo while getting what she wants, time and time again. So there we have it, right? Despite what we see in these viral clips, Zoe is actually the evil monster lurking on Sesame Street, tormenting and gaslighting Elmo in an unchecked reign of terror, right? Well, not exactly. You see, while Zoe isn't exactly treating Elmo the best here, like Elmo, she's 3 years old, despite being 3 years old for the past 50 years. Either way, Zoe is a child, and just like we can't blame Elmo for his negative response to Rocco, it's not exactly fair to pin all this blame for the toxic relationship between the two on her behavior, especially when children at that age can't really understand complex topics like morality outside of just, this is right, this is wrong. No, the root problem here actually goes much deeper in Sesame Street, all the way down to the people that are supposed to be looking after these adorable little monsters. See, when it comes to this Rocco situation, it's the adults on Sesame Street, both the humans and the monsters, who aren't doing what needs to be done for the best interests of either Elmo or Zoe. In every single situation that I've brought up here today, the adults are bending over backwards to make sure that Zoe is happy, walking the tightrope to indulge her fantasies about Rocco despite knowing that he's just a rock. Now, let me be clear, being a parent and engaging with the child's imaginary friend, great thing to do, totally fine. It is healthy to engage with the child's fantasies to a certain degree, respecting their imagination. But the adults on Sesame Street are actually taking this to a whole nother level, a dangerous level, and it's doing more harm than good. Psychologist Dr. Samantha Rodham Whitten explains that, while fostering a child's imagination is great parenting, imaginary friends can get out of hand in certain situations. You cannot let the imaginary friend turn into a way for the child to control the family, because that teaches the kids the wrong lesson. Again, think of the very first clip that brought this whole situation to light. Rocco was not only given a cookie, but at first was given Elmo's favorite cookie over Elmo. And instead of really getting down on one knee and being firm with Zoe about being fair to Elmo, the adult in the clip just kinda lets it happen.
Gabby, can Elmo have an oatmeal raisin cookie instead, please?
Gee, Elmo, that was my last one.
Back when Zoe interrupts Elmo's playdate, the adult should have stepped in to defend Elmo,